Hey everybody, welcome back to Dunrovin Ranch in lovely Lilla, Montana. There is a nip in the air, but as you can see, it's still decent. A couple layers, but we're okay. Let me see, this is boots on the ground. The broadcast during which I show you something on the ranch that you normally can't see from the cams, and today I had a request to show you the watering system back here, which I'm happy to do. I will also show you how I winterize the pipes for the winter. If I didn't say so, I am your ranch manager, Kelly, your very own personal ranch manager. And today I am ably assisted by Arrow, who is chewing on hops. So watch him stagger around later. Okay, so I believe when I showed you the orchard a little while back, I talked about the watering system briefly, but I'll go into a little more detail with you now. So, a lot of you probably remember a guy named Daniel, a Romanian guy, I believe, who lived here for a little bit and set up some of the systems here. And this is really pretty good. So what happens is, you see this PVC pipe? This white pipe, it starts over there at an above ground frost-free spigot, and the hose runs over there behind the tech shed, and then there's PVC piping that comes up and around and goes all the way to that end and a little bit around the corner, and that feeds the water to the stalls that last summer were Romeo and Crow. And between each stall is a waterer, and the horses share a waterer. And it consists of, I don't know if you can look over here, it consists of 2 tires with a food grade, looks like a trash can inside. And that's what the horses drink from. And I'm going to continue to walk over here a little bit. And each waterer is fed by some more PVC pipe, and there is a ball valve that we use to open or close to allow water to go or not. Now I'm sure you're wondering about the Divas water. The Divas water has there's a T in the T and another valve right over there, and we can open the valve to the Divas water, and if we close the valve, the water will run this way. So what we have to do to water is we open the above ground frost-free spigot, and we open the valves one at a time. You could start at either end, but I start at this end, and I train people to start at this end. And all we do, I won't do it now because everything's full, is we open this valve like so, and we fill this up, and we top the waters off to just above. Not an inch below, not half an inch below, not a quarter inch below, but definitely to the top, a little over. If for some reason we lose water pressure, the pump fails, something happens, it's good to have as much water already out for the animals as possible. So when this one is full to just overflowing, we shut it off, and we walk to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. We repeat the process. For the horses that live in the covered stalls where Mystery and Lonza are, next to the hay barn, there's the same system over there for their daytime water. Those covered stalls have automatic waterers, as does the north pasture, and the south pasture as well, and the winter pasture. So there's not really a whole lot to do with those except keep them clean. They are heated, and we're going to start turning the heat on slowly in preparation for some real cold weather. When we turn those on, we don't just crank them on. We have to turn them on a little bit at a time. So over the course of a week or so, we will slowly start turning the waters on. As far as winter goes, we will drain this system. And what we do is unhook the hose from that end and let it drain. Open all the valves so all the water as it's possible can drain out. And we actually have a nice little system here. I think it's behind the pole, but we have a little ball valve here. There we go. That I can open, and the water will drain out from this section. And then as I open all these valves, including the one around the corner, the water will drain and it won't freeze in the pipes and burst the pipes. Sometimes these days when it's 32 or so at night, sometimes the valves will kind of freeze shut. It's not a big deal because they'll be able to be opened, you know, early or later in the morning. But that's why we fill the waters always at night. So if I need to bring the horses in, they have fresh water first thing in the morning. For the covered stalls, the Chinook Lonza stall, basically the ones by the hay barn. This system I didn't use last winter. These tubs are not rated for a water heater. So what I did last year is I put in a stock tub. This is called a stock tub or a stock tank. This is 100 gallons. We have a couple. I think we have 3 of them and a smaller one. What we did last year is put this for the horses who didn't have an automatic and put a water heater, a specially rated water heater in them, really a de-icer. It just keeps the water from freezing completely. It doesn't keep it warm, and that's fine. It's cold. Horses are horses. Their bodies are set up when it's cold. You drink cold water. That's my belief anyway. What else? Oh, the arena has a heated automatic as well. We've been working to have it not leak. We replaced some parts in it, and it still overflows just a hair. And that wouldn't be such a big deal, but it will turn into a sheet of ice right inside that gate. I don't quite know what the winter arrangements will be for the horses yet. What I do know is Bonnie and Clyde, the Divas, the Captains, Crow will stay here because I'll be riding Crow all the time. Mystery and Augie will stay here. We'll probably get him used to that pasture maybe in the spring or as we go through next year. And Mystery will be here as long as I'm working with Mystery. I think we were going to take January off as far as working with horses here. But you'll have me on the road for broadcast purposes in January. I believe that is it. Scrubbing the tanks. I'll show you about cleaning the tank. Sometimes you let me know that they're dirty, and in the heat of the summer they get dirty pretty quickly. Now they might look bad. The water is pretty clear. It's mostly the sides that get the algae, and we have to bail some. Even these over here, we have to clean those, and they're a little more problematic because they're so heavy with the tires. We bail some water out, get in there, scrub it real good, bail the rest out. If you can pull it out, if I can get some young people to pull them out and dump them and rinse them, that's good. That's how we clean those. The automatic waterers, you just get in there, scrub real good, and they have much like the stock tank has, they've got a valve here. It's not really a valve, a plug that you can take out and drain the water that way. Some stock tank de-icers have a de-icer that you screw into here, and I don't know. We don't use those, or we haven't used those. We have the kind that that you put in over the top. I'll have to think about what I'd like to use this year. The only water we should have to worry about heating, or de-icing rather, would be the water between the Lonza Chinook stalls, and those will very quickly, very soon be called, I believe, the Augie and Mystery stalls, if that's not too confusing. So that's how we water the horses, and I do not like, oh, in the riparian we have a stock tank, by the way, if the horses are down there. I don't like horses to ever be without water, if at all possible. You know that sometimes Mickey hogs the water and won't let his beloved herd mates drink, which can be quite dangerous, actually. So if we think that that's the case, we put in another tank or configure the pasture so there are two automatics. Right now in the south pasture, it seems to me that everyone is drinking. I've even seen Raz kind of run Mickey around, so there may be some kind of coup d'etat going on in the herd. There usually always is, you know. The horses are always working it out. Someone's trying to come up the herd, always. So I think Mickey might be taking a little rest, and I think Raz is feeling his stuff. He wants to be head honcho. That's the watering system. It's so simple, it's so well designed, and that's how we keep the horses healthy and happy. I can talk to you about the irrigation system maybe next week. Nature's Best, shout out to them. Our landscaping company will come very soon, and what they do is they blow out the irrigation system, which is separate from this well water system. The irrigation system is what we do to set up those big sprinklers, and they have to open them up, blow the water out so they don't freeze. As far as water goes, we had a little mishap over outside the tack room. A horse got his bridle stuck on the faucet. He was tied too close to the faucet, and he got his bridle hooked there. So we had a little bit of a break inside the wall. But I've diagnosed it. James Witten got me the correct part to fix it, and so that should be up to speed today. I have a box I'm going to put outside, Suzanne's idea, to cover the knob so it doesn't happen again. Water. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, thank you, James. James just gave me a very good question for you all about the size and shape of stock tanks. Have they changed over the years, and how have they evolved to be that shape? I am going to guess. I know that whenever you have animals, you do not want sharp edges, like kids, because if they can get hurt, they will. And if you don't want sharp edges, so you don't want an animal to get hurt, this is, I believe, a Rubbermaid tank. The rubber, I like the rubber. It's a Rubbermaid agricultural product because it doesn't crack when it's frozen. They can break eventually. We have one cracked one, but and I think the shape is you can fit quite a few animals around here without anyone getting stuck in a corner or getting hurt. I'm going to say that that's the reason. I know that certain kind of livestock feeders, you have some kind of feeders where you have, like for goats and cattle, you put the hay up top and then there's a bin underneath. I have seen those with sharp edges, and I personally wouldn't use one with horses. You can also pad, you could pad the corners, but again, then they would chew that off. It's always something. Now that I've mentioned it, it's a lot like kids. You just never know. And now that I'm looking at the tanks too, I see that they're tapered a little bit. I don't know why. What I'm going to say is as you get down there, it's not quite so heavy to tip over. That's my non-engineer's take on the subject. That was a really good question, though. I'd never thought about that. Another great question, why we don't use metal. Well, when I came to the ranch, we had the rubber. I don't like metal personally, and I've never used metal for a couple reasons. One, it gets awfully hot in the heat. The water can get real hot in a metal one. Also, some of these come in black, and black gets hot too. Now, a lot of people get black ones, and they put tires around them as a passive solar to keep the tanks from freezing. And metal also, if you have a metal tank near an electric fence this far or so, it can get charged and be electrified. The same thing with it. You really don't want to put a stock tank here in a metal tank either. There are some real sad stories of horses, even in a rubber tank, having the water electrified and getting electrocuted from drinking from a heated tank. Last winter I became very paranoid about that. And I didn't heat, after a while I didn't heat the one that was over there. I just broke the ice every morning. Horses are very good at breaking ice. Unless it gets real thick real fast, it's really not much to worry about. Cattle, I know, at least the cattle I've worked with, cattle, alpacas, llamas, goats, maybe goats, they're not great at breaking ice. But horses, I'm not worried about it too much. That's why we use this tank. I know we have a short one as well that Annie liked to paw in. So this one should be fine. I'm going to put one of these between the two stalls for Augie and Mystery over the winter. May or may not heat it up. We'll see. Use a de-icer. Oh, here comes Clyde. Hi, Clyde. He heard me. He says he's thinking, is there any chance I can get in there? And I'm going to say no. Okay, James has relayed a couple more questions. One, the riparian water. Just past the dance hall, next to the dance hall, there's a little trail, a little road that goes down to the riparian. At the bottom of that road is a 100-gallon stock tank. There is water to that. Behind the dance hall is an above-ground frost-free spigot, and that has a hose which runs all the way down the hill to fill that stock tank. To winterize that, it's easy. I just unscrew the hose. A short length of hose, if you just let some air in it, it'll drain itself. And the winter pasture has an automatic heated waterer as well. I think the switch is broken, and James is going to go out there and troubleshoot it with me. And if it's an easy repair, then James is good at that kind of thing. That one, they seem to share fine. Might as well talk about salt since we're here too, as everyone will have salt. I've already put 3 or 4 of the white and of the red various minerals blocks over there, so they have plenty of salt for the winter. And when we feed over in the winter pasture, we always check the water, always. It can go, you never know. You never know when it's not going to work. In fact, we had a little issue with it earlier in the year, but I was able to fix it. We had a couple repairs of the waterers. They're quite old, and they're holding up really well, but sometimes you get a rust issue, and when we need to fix those. You guys have good questions today. I believe James is going to show you the winter pasture. The water is actually next to the big haystack. The water is a little small waterer, like the ones that are in our covered stalls. It's about red. And I don't know if you can see it because it's it's between the power pole and the hay. You got it? Okay, so yeah, that's that automatic waterer. And that one seems to have a little tiny leak. It's not leaking from the top. There's probably some kind of little leak underneath, a small one. And that gets pretty icy over there, so I remember last winter I put a bunch of sand and salt down there so they could get to the water without danger of slipping and falling. So part of the night chores is feeding this side, where I am, the ranch, feeding this side, checking the waters, making sure everyone is healthy and happy, And then when you're in the winter pasture, not only do you drive around and throw hay, but you check and make sure the water's not frozen and that it's working properly. Another question, another comment about the floats and the valves. All the automatic waters have a float that's like in your toilet. When the water gets low, the float goes down, which opens a valve which lets the water fill back up. Normally they're fine in the winter. Occasionally you have to check, but if they break, it's a pretty easy fix. The most important thing for the automatic waters in the winter is you have it set for just the right temperature to prevent icing over, but not that it's too hot for the horses to drink. We've been pretty lucky. The way they're heated, it's quite simple actually. I had to repair the arena heater last winter. Is if you open the top, at least on this blue one, there's just a basic, it's like I think it's aluminum or steel ring attached to a power cord, and it goes in the center and it just stays hot, and it keeps the water from icing over. These older red metal ones, like the one that is in the pasture, actually have a heating element underneath, and you have to reach under there to turn to adjust the heat setting. Good question I just got. Thanks, James, about the well. How deep's the well? I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe James knows. Hearing from James right now. Sterling says the well can pump 100 gallons a minute, which is pretty good, I think. That's how we can do so much. Although I thought the irrigation was different than the well, but I guess not. No, that would be the same thing. That's where we get our water. 100 gallons a minute, that's pretty good, which is, we have a lot of sprinklers going at one time, as you can see in the summer. But we can't turn them all on at the same time, because that 100 gallons a minute is not enough to run everything efficiently. If we have too many on, for example, the lawn sprinklers in front of the miller's home won't come on properly, nor will the big squirts in the north pasture. They won't spin unless they have enough water pressure. We learned that early this summer. Really good questions. Yeah, I would love to get Sterling out here to talk a little bit more about the water system here. It works very well. Yeah. Yes, Arrow has passed out. Arrow loves sleeping if it's warm at all. He rests a lot now. He's an old guy, you guys. Oh, boy. Scooby? Hi, you all right? You're hanging out with us? You know, he naps a lot these days. He's a love, that guy. Yeah, he's not a really good helper, is he? Yeah. He and Ina were I heard this barking, and I can recognize he has a certain bark that he uses for squirrels, and I recognize it right away. And Arrow and Ina were being squirreled quite seriously this afternoon. And I don't know if you know, but squirrels, I'm sure on purpose, torment dogs. So maybe that's why he's so tired. Or he just is worthless as a co-host. I'm not sure. Arrow's, I think, 13 by now. Yeah, maybe more. About that. Yeah, he's my boy. Pitbull Greyhound mix literally from gang streets in Los Angeles. I've talked a little bit about how I got him. I'm sorry, James? He has street cred, that dog. If he could talk. Yeah, no. We're lucky to have found each other, and we're both lucky not to be in Los Angeles, but to be in Lolo, Montana. Lovely Lolo, Montana. Oh, the sun's coming out. That's good, because I asked James something that maybe we can pull it in the sun and do is I have a big sticker that goes. I'm going to put it back on the back of the horse trailer that says "Caution horses, please stay back." You wouldn't believe how people love tailgating you and they love going around you fast when you have a horse trailer. I don't understand. I'm going to put one on each trailer, but for now I just got the one, and it's a two-person job. So James has graciously accepted the invitation to help me. So I guess, James, we might have to pull the trailer out into the sun, in which case you all can watch on the ranch cam if you'd like. So that's the water story. You guys have great questions, and yeah, it's not, haven't had a big problem on my watch with busted pipes or anything, which is nice. Okay, yeah, James just said to me that next time we talk about water, we can talk about hauling the hoses, valves, pressure gauges, all that kind of thing. Yeah, what I've told you is what I know. But there's a lot I don't know. I try to live my life on a need-to-know basis because I've also learned that what you know, you end up doing. But I am fixing the water pipe in the tack room. I will be doing that momentarily. If you don't have any more questions or comments, I'm going to sign off briefly. Oh man, the walkabout, special surprise guest. I'm not going to even tell you. She graciously agreed to join me, and we have a little surprise for you all. And then we'll talk to her for a few minutes. And we have diva and dog training this afternoon. Taylor is very ill with the flu, and I think she's still pretty ill with the flu. So I think it will be either Jake or I will do the dog and diva training. And 3 big rides tomorrow, everyone. 3 6-person river rides. I told you before, the wives of the guys that came earlier. So, oh my God. Hi, little squirrel. Hi. Do you want to be interviewed? You don't. Oh, you're messing with Arrow. There's a squirrel right on the other side of the gate. Arrow knows he's there now. Oh, this could get ugly. I'm sorry, you guys, but I digress. But there was a squirrel. He just sat there looking at me. Oh, don't come in. Uh-oh. Excuse me, everyone. Get. Oh, boy, here we go. I'm sorry, but nature is... Hi, little buddy. Oh, look. Can you get Arrow in this shot? Arrow, you're being squirreled. Oh, boy, there we go. You're being... Oh, there you go. Arrow's awake now, everyone. Look at that. I know they do it on purpose. Don't you think, James? Look at, now it's in the tree, driving my poor dog insane. Anyway, sorry for the interruption, but we all got squirrely here for a second. Anyway, so I may be taking all of the rides out tomorrow. So Crow and I will be earning our keep. And I'm going to sign off until 2 o'clock. And please, you're going to want to tune in. Kind of a blast from the past. Kind of a reminder of spring. Kind of, don't know. Just gonna leave you with that little bit of a tease. And Arrow is being tormented as we speak. All right. Thanks, you guys, very much. I appreciate you joining me. I hope we answered your questions. Any more suggestions, put them in my chat. And I will say goodbye for now. Thanks. Bye-bye.